Can you see the falls from there?
No, I can't. But you don't see all that stuff up there, is it?
I'm sure it is somewhere there.
Big rockers.
We've got to go up a little higher. Just so lush. All the ferns here. Lots of fresh fronds just coming out in these ferns. What's the name of this fern here?
Wow.
The crown fern. Let's go up to the base of the falls now. Have a real close look. Thank goodness it's pretty healthy. Pretty ample trail markings on it, those little orange triangles pointing us in the right direction. Otherwise it'd be a pretty hard track to follow. The track winds along the edge of the stream here. Lots of ferns along the way, different variety of ferns. Little tiny ladder fern there, I think is the name of that one. Boy, it's a pretty spot.
The waterfall's getting closer. I can actually see it through the trees up there.
Yeah, you can see the spray of the waterfall through the trees.
Yeah.
Well, there's the falls. You feel the lovely fine mist spraying on us, probably getting the lens of my camera. Huge boulders which would have broken off over the years. Yes. Luxuriant vegetation surrounding the base of the waterfall. So I'm sitting here eating my lunch. I'm looking at this rock just behind Alley. Such a square-edged rock, almost like come out of a perfect jigsaw puzzle. But it must have come out of that cliff. Looking up at the cliff, I can see a square overhang, like a roof. That's sort of a place where that rock could have come from. Who knows? What's for dessert? Ah, the goodies come out. Good old snakes. I'll get a couple. Green's my favorite. Yeah, the moss and other growths on the trunk of this tree. Ferns galore all along the track. And up this tree, little tiny ferns and other moss and growth. It's pretty awesome. Looking for an orange trail marker. Yeah, go straight ahead, see what you come up with. Any markers up ahead?
No. No, I'm just not totally convinced we're in the right place. Pretty narrow right there too, you wouldn't fall over the edge.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good drop. Now comes the interesting part. The rope. Okay. I'm going to have to put the camera away for this one. Allie's going to latch onto that rope to help hand hold her way over this little tricky part here.
This was the part I didn't leg way over there. There we go.
Just keep that hand on that rope. It's a 3,000-foot drop.
My arms aren't long enough.
Don't let go of that
There we
rope.
go. Got the rope now.
Okay. Okay, up on top. Look at the view. Look at the view, eh? This valley out there. Well, that's the hardest part of the track behind us, although there's still some tricky portions coming up. Look at all the ferns, eh? This is the waterfall lookout. We're up above the waterfall now. Tupapakurua Falls. The track for the most part is in pretty good condition. Sure, there's a few tree roots and I did slip on a couple of them and went down, but relatively minor inconveniences. There are, I think, 2 ups and downs. Now that we crossed 2 ridges, and I don't suppose they're any more than 150, 200 meters vertical. So they are a climb, but nothing to worry about. The reward of getting to the waterfalls and seeing the waterfalls far outweighs any energy output.
This track from the falls back to the trailhead is much better maintained than from the falls lookout to the actual falls.
Right, the last portion, the last downhill to the waterfall itself is a bit tricky. You know, when I saw that rope hanging on the edge of the cliff there, I thought, oh, maybe that's not for us. But that was probably the trickiest part.
We handled it.
We handled it, she says. 2 hands on the rope. Part of the track is actually covered with metal, which gives it a pretty good traction, makes it a bit more weatherproof, not as muddy. There's quite a story behind the metaling of this track. These are buckets full of metal. I think what happens is some wonderful volunteers from National Park come in and fill up the buckets at the parking lot and move them to various locations along the way. So they might move them in 200 or 300 meters, and the next guy might move them to another depot. But the metal is then deposited on the track, so they've been working on this for a good many years. One of the highlights of the trail are all these little information signs describing the vegetation along the way. This one is the rimu. Rimu can grow over 30 meters, and typical, very lacy-like leaves that sort of droop down. Hardly call them leaves. Mari, black Mari. That's probably the heaviest timber in the country. Makes extremely good firewood. Torpedo, very reddish green leaves. The pepper tree is its other name. I guess if we chew one of those leaves, we would know it for sure. Quite hot. I've known of this track for quite a number of years, and Sally and I have always talked about doing it. It's a little further away than the normal tracks we do, and Akamana was in the national park. But we did it today, and certainly no regrets. It was definitely a highlight, something we'll do again. That waterfall was pretty spectacular, and it is such a beautiful, idyllic setting. Tupapakurua Falls Track. Well, this filming is done in reverse. We're just coming out of the track after a day's hike. It's been a fabulous day. Rain this morning, too wet to have the camera out, but now you can see it's bright and dried up. And we kept to the right-hand branch.
There it is. The little sign to the right.
This is the Mountains to Sea Tiaroa Trail, our national trail. I've biked it, locally known as the Fisher's Track. I've biked it several times. I haven't been as far as the mountains to the sea. Haven't done that whole track.
Often?
And here's the pile of gravel that's destined to go on that track. We've gone by several metal depots on the way. Well, here's the original source of it. And this is where we parked in the rain this morning. And of course the track just up ahead, just around the corner there.